Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Health and Harmony podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
So excited to have you guys on another episode. And today we are going to touch a little bit on intuition.
Yeah, we were thinking obviously with the spirituality journey that we've been doing on Instagram. For those of you, if you don't know what we're talking about, go follow Health and Harmony Goals. You'll see all about it. But we thought we'd stick to the spirituality theme throughout the
30 days.
30 days. Yeah. So intuition was something that popped up for both of us. And I know we might have touched on it slightly in a few of our previous podcasts, but
we haven't done a podcast just on intuition.
Exactly.
And like we always say, I feel like everything in our podcast always overlaps anyway.
Yeah.
So everything in the whole health and harmony spectrum is like always going to overlap. So I mean,
we're always going to talk about meditation. We're always going to talk about
just about to say meditation is being brought up again today. So if you haven't started, get your shit together.
All right. So we found quite a hilarious
quote
about intuition. Do you want to read it?
I mean, for those of you that don't know what intuition is, it's a very I want to say funny and fun way of like explaining it, but there's nothing wrong with not knowing what intuition is. That's the whole point of this podcast today. So just gives you guys a little bit of information on how to just be more in touch with your intuitive side. So this is I'm going to say this really slowly, otherwise I'm going to laugh. But so your intuition, as an example, right, is when you have a keen sense of feely feels that feel feely, and you know what? I need to start this again. I knew this was going to happen. I'm like every time. And you know, even when we were writing the spirituality challenge, I have one of these written on one of the stories. This quote is written on one of the stories to come. And I had to reread it about 7 times before I could write it out, because I was like, this is such a tongue twister. Okay. When you have a keen sense of feely feels that feel feely, and you feel like you know things that you don't know, but you do know because you're feeling them.
I love that.
I mean, that's like a simple but super hard way to say that. Those feely feels that you're feeling, and you feel like you don't know what's going on, but you do know because you're feeling the feels. Basically, like we always say, your gut instinct or whatever you want to call it, that's just an easy way of, a fun way of describing your intuition.
Definitely a fun way.
Yes.
But yeah, guys, trust your intuition. It speaks softly.
Also, write that down and try to say it fast, please.
It is like a tongue twister.
Literally.
Okay, so I mean, before we delve into the rest of the podcast, we also found a very cute, more real.
Not as fun.
It's more of a quote, not really a definition of intuition, but it just says, trust your intuition. It speaks softly, but when you listen, the message is always clear. I think that's such a beautiful way to sum up intuition, especially when you start to become aligned and connected with your intuition. Because the message is always clear. You just have to know how to listen to it.
100%. And I think it's super important, like we say, it speaks softly, like the quote says, it speaks softly. Like your intuition at the beginning, when you're starting to become aligned or more listened, my God, my English is horrendous. When you're listening more to your intuition, it's not going to be something that smacks you in the face and you're like, oh my gosh, like I have made this realization today. It is going to be something that's like creeping up on you, whether it's how you feel inside your body or like you're listening to something that's going on in your mind. It's really going to be something that speaks softly to you at first, but like the thing says, I mean, the message is always going to be clear. So just trust in the process.
And also with the softly part, I feel like the more in tune you are with your intuition, the message does become louder over time, because you know what voice to listen to, if that makes any sense.
Completely agree.
Yeah. Okay. So we actually found this while we were doing research for the podcast, and I don't think it's something that I've ever come across. And I just thought it was very interesting, because with intuition, we always say that it's a feeling in your gut, but then we found the 4 levels of intuition, and gut is only one of them. So we wanted to discuss the 4 levels very quickly, because we, again, want to try to keep this podcast
short and sweet, so you guys can replay it, and then we finish and we're like, oh God, we did it again.
So obviously the first level is your gut instinct, and that's basically like your feeling inside of your stomach. It's what you use also for your safety and survival. You know, when you get those gut feelings where you shouldn't go down a passageway, or you shouldn't park your car there, or shouldn't walk alone. Okay, this is all like South African problems, but that's your basic gut instinct, the one that's trying to steer you in direction of safety and security.
Yeah, I feel like we've spoken about this before when we, in our previous podcast, spoke about going to boxing, and the one day Rox just knew, like, don't do a U-turn today, and then the cops came down the road. I swear, I mean, you would have heard this maybe from your parents or people at school or teachers or university, but I feel like everyone's heard this from a super young age: trust your gut. Like, such a simple term, but it really is. It means so much. And I feel like the more you get in tune with trusting your gut, the more intuitive you'll be.
The more you can trust your gut.
Safety and survival, baby. Literally, your gut instinct is not there to be your worst enemy. It's actually there to be your best friend.
Exactly.
It will guide you down a path of happiness and rainbows and butterflies. Not always.
Not always,
but it will get you there eventually.
Okay, then the second level was heart-based intelligence. And I think, I mean, this is all still new to us, but from what we understood, it was when your heart guides you in the ways in which you react to certain things and communicate with people and like choose certain things. So it's moving up from your gut to your heart, and just using your heart to compassionately
connect to everyone.
Connect to everything around you. And also, once you connect to everything around you, your intuition
becomes stronger, 100%. And I mean, going back to your heart base, it spoke about, which we really loved. I mean, we have connection, like we say with spirituality, it's believing that everything is connected. And for us, I mean, people might not be into animals or whatever the situation is, but your heart base is allowing you always to have that connection to humans or to animals or to source, whatever your connection is, but without words. So it's just that feeling in your heart that you have that's unexplainable in words.
It's like
basically.
When you can communicate without using words.
Yes. I feel like sometimes it goes back to empathy or whatever your word is for it. But sometimes you can, and I mean, this is going a bit off topic, but it's like sometimes you can just feel in your heart, like you look at an animal and you can feel that animal's sad. Like you've never crossed a conversation with the animal to be like, how are you feeling today, Dobby? Like, are you feeling super depressed today? But sometimes you can just look at something and feel in your heart that you know the way that they're feeling or the way that you're feeling. I think that's kind of
it's just another good way to practice your intuition, I guess, because it's just listening to that connection between you and the animal, you and the universe, you and the person, whatever it may be.
Yeah, so as much as you need to trust your gut, you need to trust your heart as well.
Love that. Okay, third level, visionary power. I mean, this sounds like the woo-woo side of things, but
just looking at your eyes, I'm like, if we're speaking directly about vision, Roxy has none of it, but you have visionary power. She always sits with her eyes squinting. I'm like, she needs to get her glasses. We're waiting for that.
Please, I will get on that, promise. But yeah, like I was saying, it's more of like the woo-woo side. I'm like, intuition is going to sound like woo-woo to most people anyway, but we know it's real.
And if you're listening to this, you know it's real too.
Yes, please stick. What's it?
Stick
up for me.
I'm like, stick to us. Stick with us.
Stick with us. So this is basically when you tap into like your visionary powers to use your intuition again. So lucid dreaming, like being able to remember your dreams, recall them, maybe like yes, I'm lost for words today.
Write them down.
Yeah, break them down. Study them, get meaning from them. Same thing from meditation, same thing from like visualization. It's just another level of tapping into that intuition.
I think it's important to note that with the 4 levels of intuition, like I could be completely making this up, but this is the way that I feel it speaks to me. And like I feel like you start out with your gut instinct, right? So it's very easy for pretty much any human being to be able to feel that feeling in your gut. You know what it feels like. It's either a yes or a no, or a don't do that. But you start out with your gut instinct. And the more that you get in tune with your intuition, we start to feel that heart-based intelligence. So your heart-based level of your intuition, like you become more in tune with your heart base, you'll know what you're feeling in your heart and where your heart is guiding you. And once you've had your gut instinct and you've got your heart-based intelligence, you get to the level of visionary power. No one's going to tell you that when you go to bed tonight and you're trying to become more intuitive, that you're going to have lucid dreams tonight. Like, please God, no, we are not saying that at all. But the more intuitive and the more in tune you get with each level, the more connected you'll be to each level, if that makes sense.
It's like a progression.
Yes.
So you start with the gut, you move up to the heart, move up to visionary, and then the last one is connection to universal wisdom. And I actually joked with B before saying it's like reaching the nirvana of intuition. But this is just when you literally tap into that connection of the universe, of everything, because everything's connected. And that's how you draw on your intuition, because you are pulling from the wisdom of the universe, if that makes sense.
100%. And I mean, like, we always go back to the word woohoo, and we say it's quite woohoo. I mean, we know everything is woohoo, but if it's what you believe in, it's what you believe in. And that connection to the universal wisdom, which is level 4, is supposedly the biggest or most hectic level, if you want to put it in those terms, the most hectic level of intuition that you can experience as a living being on this earth. So, I mean, they say that you can also, that's the connection that you feel when you have like a near-death experience, or when someone goes through a very traumatic experience in their life. Like, that's why we say, I think it's like a chart of progression. You start with your gut instinct. No one's, like we said, no one's going to go and have the connection to universal wisdom, like, just after listening to this podcast. But you might have had a girl can dream. You might have had a near-death experience in your life, and you were like, I honestly felt this super hectic connection to everything. And I think once you reach that point of connection to universal wisdom, you just realize how important every connection is in the world. Like, we speak about connectedness in general and consciousness, is just realizing how important everything is. It sounds so silly, but sometimes people do, they go through that near-death experience and they're like, now I realize like how silly some things are, and how important some things are, and like how important my connections to my family or to myself or to whatever is in my life.
Yes.
I feel like it's
just like a reawakening.
100%.
And also, sorry, this popped into my head now, but I think another way you could my language today, reach connection to universal wisdom is through plant medicine. And I mean, this is a very controversial topic, because you either do it or you don't. I personally love plant medicine. It's helped me in so many ways, but I feel like I've reached that connection to universal when I've done ayahuasca, when I've tried magic mushrooms, even smoking weed. I feel like I'm just more connected to the energies around me. So, I mean, it's not for everyone. Like I said, you do you. We always say that.
100%.
But that's another way, I think, that if you are willing to try those things, I'm not saying go now and take all these drugs, and make sure you have someone guiding you through, like a shaman or whatever. But it's just another way to also connect with your deeper intuition, your deeper knowledge, your deeper connectedness with everything around you.
100%.
I was like, sorry, that's just a little side spew.
No, but I think completely agree with you. I mean, like you were saying, it's plant medicine. It's not for everybody. Like, some people might be okay with smoking weed, but not with going on a flipping ayahuasca journey. Like, that's completely okay. Plant medicine is each to their own. Like, no one's saying to you right now, go and do whatever you do. Like, that's not what we're saying. Disclaimer. Like, just putting it out there. You do you, boo.
That should be our new slogan.
Yeah, you do you, boo.
Okay, so that was something interesting that we found that we thought we'd share with you guys. And then moving on, we wanted to just discuss ways you can develop and boost your intuition. Just fun little things you can start trying now at home in your
every single day.
Yeah, in your own time. In no particular order
at all.
The first one we jotted down was connect with your creativity. And I think creativity is so often overlooked as like a way to connect, be in flow, like really deepen your connection with your love of yourself, your purpose, your passion.
And I think, I mean, we've spoken about this before, but creativity can be anything to you. Like, whether your creativity is drawing, or whether your creativity is dance practice, or your creativity could be writing or coloring books or paint by numbers, whatever the situation is. Creativity is however creativity means to you, whatever your flow is, wherever you're happiest. Like, connect to that creativity. If it's gardening, if it's freaking washing dishes or painting plates, like whatever makes you feel creative, connect with your creativity, and you will always be more intuitive, I think. I think everything just goes back to connection, but connect to your creativity for sure is important.
And also I think when it comes down to creativity, like try new things, because the more you stimulate your mind with different creative avenues, the more you're going to stimulate your mind to find different avenues of intuition and connectiveness. I need someone to help me with my vocab today.
Don't worry, girl, we all understand you.
Like for the past week or so, I've just been feeling so called to dance, to move my body. And yesterday I was sitting at home, I was like, I'm going to put on YouTube. I'm going to find a hip hop, like beginners hip hop dance video, and I danced for 45 minutes and I felt so good and sweaty, but it was just a different way for me to express my creativity that I never do, especially now with COVID. You can't even go to the clubs and like bust a move, but like explore different avenues of creativity as well, because that's what developing your intuition is. It's the same process. It's exploring different ways to connect to your intuition.
100%. I'm like, that's always, funny enough, my point of call with creativity and like movement. And whenever I get signs and whatever, it always leads to dance. And it's like, just as an example, like I'm a makeup artist, right? So a lot of people might think that my instant call to be creative is to do something that's with art, and it's not. Like that's something that I love so much and that I'm passionate about, but it's my job every single day. And if I need to connect more to my creativity and do something else, like I'll always lean towards dance. So, I mean, you may be a creative and have something creative as your job, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use that as your connection to be more creative when you're at home.
Yeah.
So I love that example about dancing.
Goes back to just
dancing is an amazing way to move energy through your bodies, guys.
Yeah, it is. I was actually looking at like Shakti warrior dancing. That is something I'm just going to look into.
I'm like, that doesn't even sound normal. Shakti.
Am I normal though? Let's be honest.
No, none of us are.
Okay, then back to the good old meditation. Start meditating, but consistently, guys. The same thing with developing your intuition. It's never going to get stronger if you don't practice connecting to it consistently. And I think for me, 2021, one of my biggest words is consistency, because nothing ever comes from being inconsistent.
100%. You have to, I mean, guys, we've spoken about meditation, so we're not going to delve way into it, but you can't meditate for like 5 minutes today and expect to be great at meditating in 3 weeks time. If you're going to do it like for 5 minutes once every 2 weeks, it's really, I mean, it may be beneficial to you in some way, shape or form, but the more you meditate, because now we're obviously speaking about intuition and being more intuitive, meditating consistently will help with that. So that's a good one.
And also like listen to guided meditations on connecting with your intuition.
Be specific.
Yeah. Alrighty, spend time in nature. I think we spoke about this again last time, but just feeling connected to everything around you
will make you more intuitive.
Yes.
I think also like we keep going back to connectedness and whatever, but it's also just about being present, guys. Like in everything, if you're connected, whether you are outside in nature, it's being more connected to nature, yes, but at the same time you're being present, and the more present you are in every aspect of your life, the more intuitive you can be, because you can really listen to those signs that are going on within inside your body. So yeah, I think connectedness and presence are a massive part of about everything we speak about.
I love that point. I actually spoke a lot about presence last week on my Instagram, but like you said, if you're constantly worrying about the future or delving in the past, you're never going to be able to hear that soft voice of intuition. So practice presence, guys.
100%.
Okay. And then, I mean, oh, sorry, I skipped one there. Let me not get into my
No, you're doing cool.
Ask for guidance or signs. And as much as you ask for guidance and signs, which our next point coming straight after this is take action on the guidance you receive. It's the same as manifesting. So many people say, I want to make 100,000, let's say dollars this year. And they leave it at that. The universe isn't just going to deposit $100,000 into your bank account at the end of the year and be like, well done, you manifested that. You have to
ask for it, so you get it.
You have to take action. And once you start to connect to your intuition and you hear the signs coming from the universe or wherever they come from, you need to take action on those, because those are that's the universe's way of telling you, you need to do this, my goal, if you want to get that. So by sitting back and just being like, give me a Ferrari, sorry, girl, it's just not going to happen.
And if you, guys, if you're asking, I mean, like we've spoken about, it can be the universe, it can be source, if it's God to you, no matter what the situation is, if you're asking for guidance and you're asking for signs and you notice that you're getting these signs and you're getting the guidance and you don't take action on it, how are you going to be more intuitive? Like, you've gotten the signs, you've been given the signs from whoever has given you the signs, but you don't take action on the signs because you just feel like, I know that was a sign, but maybe that wasn't a sign. Like, if you feel in your gut that was a sign, it 100% was a sign. And it can be something so simple, like Rox and I always speak about angel numbers, and like sometimes you see numbers consecutively or periods of your weeks or months where you're only seeing the same numbers. Like, don't just think, you know what, oh, okay, cool, I've seen the numbers. Like Rox has been seeing 2s a lot lately. Like, you don't just sit back and think like, it's actually been so weird. I've been seeing a lot of 2s lately, but like, I'm not going to do anything about it. Like, do the research, Google, Pinterest, whatever the situation is, watch a YouTube video, like do the research and take action on the signs. Because oftentimes, like, I've had people say to me, B, it's so weird. Like, I see the same thing in a million different places, and it's like, it's the same number plate, or it's the same this, or it's the same that, or it's the same time, or, I've seen the same person in like 3 different places that are completely unrelated. Like, what does that mean? I can't tell you what it means to you, but you can do the research and be like, what does it mean if you see the same person in 3 completely unrelated situations? And you'll get a whole article on it. Whatever you pull out of it is completely relevant to you. I mean, the whole article might not be relevant, but there'll definitely be something that speaks to you and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's what I've been asking for guidance on. And then you can take your action on that. So definitely do that. I think that's
Yeah, I think we touched on this again last week when we spoke about synchronicities. And like you were saying, when you start to see things continuously, it's the universe's way of showing you something. That happens to me with books. I have to be honest. Like, I'll see people posting about the same book all at the same time on the same day. I'm like, I'm buying that book and I'm reading it because the universe obviously wants me to read it.
100%.
I mean, you can interpret it any way you want. You don't have to Google what the meaning of everything is as well. If you see the same person 3 times in completely different places, the universe probably wants you to go up to that person and have a conversation with them. They're going to drop a golden nugget. They're going to give you a contact that you needed to get somewhere in your business. They're going to bring something into your life that you need from them in order to get to where you want to go.
Completely agree.
Woohoo! Okay.
We are on a roll, Vandaag.
We are on a roll. Okay, find ways to unplug and de-stress. I mean, we don't even have to talk about this. It's just allowing your mind to switch off and relax. And when you are more de-stressed and relaxed, you can connect to things better because you're not stressed, anxious, depressed.
And whatever. I mean, I'm just looking now, it does connect to one of our other points, just finding ways to unplug and de-stress. And we also have a point of turning off overthinking. So I feel like turning off your overthinking mind is also, that happens when you find a way to unplug or de-stress.
But also in turning off overthinking, that relates back to intuition in terms of overthinking. Once you've got that gut feel, I think a lot of people overthink that gut feel and do something different. And then when they look back, they're like, I should have just gone with my gut.
100%. Well, that's what this next point is turning off, I mean, to trust your feelings, right? So the physical reaction. So Rox and I was speaking earlier about butterflies, for instance. Like, I mean, also this is going a bit off topic, but there's so many things in this day and age, and it's like, you read all these quotes on social media because, I mean, it's a picture that you've seen on your feed, and you just read this quote and you imagine it to be 100% the accurate truth, and it might not be. And the only reason I'm using this as an example is because I've seen a quote before where it was like, the person that gives you butterflies is not the person for you. Like, the person that's for you is going to make you feel calm inside. And I'm like, yes, that may be true to a certain aspect, but like, you really do have to trust those gut feelings. And if someone's giving you good butterflies inside your tummy, like, that's a good sign. If someone's giving you butterflies and making you feel really uncomfortable, that you feel like you're going to vomit, that's probably a bad sign. But if you're around
a good bad sign, a good sign to get the hell out of
exactly. But if someone's giving you like really good vibes and you get butterflies every time around them and you feel like a little giddy child, it's not to say that that's the wrong person for you, because you're supposed to feel calmness inside. Like, don't believe everything that you read on social media. Seriously, it can freaking drown your mind.
Yeah. And I mean, each to their own. If a quote resonates with you and not with someone else, that's completely normal. We are all unique and different.
Completely. But yeah, trust those feelings, guys. Butterflies is just one example, but however your stomach is feeling at a certain point is going straight back to the gut feels. But you have to, that's exactly where level 1 starts. Feeling it right in the tum-tum.
In your stomach.
It's not hunger pains.
Again, another way to work on your intuition is to play games. And I love this because I do this all the time and people always look at me like I'm flipping crazy. But like if we're doing card games or whatever, I can't remember. I was playing this game with my friend and you had to try like guess what the 2 middle cards were and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I always take my hands over the cards and I like imagine which cards are under my hand, close my eyes like a proper witch. And I'm like, and you know that most of the time I'm right. I always choose the right card. I like, okay, I feel for heat. That's just my way. But I mean, just playing games and starting to use your intuition in fun and adventurous ways, fun and new ways. Because it's not like, you don't want to feel like you're going to class now when you start practicing your intuition. No. The teacher said, I must meditate. And now I must do this. Like do different things in fun ways to work on using your intuition.
100%. Guys, you can literally take a deck of cards. Like we don't even have to do angel cards. Like take a deck of cards with numbers and whatever, and honestly sit and play games. Even if you're doing it by yourself, or if you want to do it with your mom or your dad or your partner, or whatever the situation is, like it's just fun to sit there and be like, what card am I going to pull? Like, and just guess. I mean, kind of like magic, you know, magic tricks.
I was going to say we're going to have the next, is it David Blaine?
Yeah.
What's that other guy's name? All those
I know which guy you're talking about, but I'm like, if I even forget his name, my brother will kill me. He watches all those videos. But honestly, it will just be a fun way to become more intuitive, and you'll eventually see the more you start to listen to that real feeling of like, I know what this card is, the more intuitive you will be.
Yeah, that is true. And then, I mean, last but not least, I think just remembering to slow down enough so that you can hear your inner voice. And when you do hear that inner voice, follow it.
100%. Goes back to, guys, just taking time to de-stress and to declutter your mind and to stop overthinking. Like, just slow down, whether you, like we said first, whether you're doing something creative, whether you're meditating, whatever the situation is, just slow down enough that you can have the time to listen to your inner voice, because sometimes people are so busy with everything that's going on around them that you're asking for these signs and you are trying to get guidance, or you're trying to take actions on the things that are going on in your life, but you really just don't have the time, or you haven't slowed down enough for the answers to come through.
Yeah, and also when you're keeping so busy, the universe might be spitting signs at you, but you're just too busy to even notice them. So
100%.
Just really slow down, be present, and you shall find your intuition.
You shall get the answers.
All right, that's all we have for you guys today.
Yay, we did it.
But like we always say at the end, if you like this, please give us a rating.
5 stars.
On whatever.
Why would you rate us anything lower?
On whatever platform you are using. And also, if you do leave a review in words, screenshot and send it to us via email or DM on Instagram, because it does get lost in the iTunes world before it makes its way to us. And we'd love to read our reviews to you guys.
And we'd love to also share them on our social media pages. Like if you've written a review, I mean, it's nice to give credit where it's due, and just obviously tag your social media handle and just be like, thank you so much for your review. But yeah, I mean, like we always say, like Rox was saying, we say the same thing at the end of every podcast, but that's what you do at the end of a podcast. And if this works for you, and if you guys do start to practice being more intuitive, and you do start to pick up signs or to start getting guidance, share with us. Exactly.
We want to know, we want to see.
It's super exciting. Like we love when people even speak to us about synchronicities. They're like, oh my gosh, you must know. And we're like, yes. So please let us know. And if you guys have anything specific you want us to speak about next week, let us know. Like we said, we will be speaking about everything to do with spirituality in the next 30 days. Or it's less than 30 days now, but you know what I mean, for the 30 days. So if there's anything that's what you specifically want to know about or want us to touch on, let us know, and we will record again next week, Monday.
But until next time,
see you then.
Keep healing our world.
Yes, girl.
Yes, queen.